Let's discuss Tucker Carlson going over to Twitter. Here is his announcement video that I'd like you to take a look at. Trigger warning, he comes in a little hot.
Hey, it's Tucker Carlson.
Those are some words I never want to hear.
You often hear people say the news is full of lies.
Because it is. Because of you.
But most of the time, that's not exactly right. Much of what you see on television or read the New York Times is in fact true in the literal sense. It could pass one of the media's own fact checks. Lawyers would be willing to sign off on it. In fact, they may have. But that doesn't make it
like someone trained him how to talk, because he does that thing where he raises his voice every so often in order to make it semi-listenable. That's like that they just train you to do that when you're doing the news. And that's why news people all sound almost exactly the same.
True. It's not true.
Thank you.
At the most basic level, the news you consume is a lie. A lie.
No, well, he's finally coming. He's finally coming out. And maybe he had a come to Jesus moment. He's like, yeah, it's a lie, the news.
Of the stealthiest and most insidious kind. Facts have been withheld on purpose, along with proportion and...
Oh my God, he is talking about what he does for work. How is this not obvious?
Perspective. You are being manipulated.
Should I just end this clip here? I mean, God, I'm yelling into the mic because it's so fun to watch.
How does that work? Let's see. If I tell you that a man has been unjustly arrested for armed robbery, that is not, strictly speaking, a lie. He may have been framed. At this point, there's been no trial, so no one can really say. But if I don't mention the fact that the same man has been arrested for the same crime 6 times before, am I really informing you? No, I'm not.
Well, let me talk to you, Tucker, as a media professional and a professor of media studies. It's all in the way you present the story. So, for example, in the story example that you gave, if you say a man who was arrested 6 times for battery was finally convicted of battery, battery happened or whatever your example was. Yet again, you're already leading the audience to believe in his guilt. If you report it this way, a man was convicted of battery today, or accused of battery today after people found a beat up person in his backyard. He has been convicted 6 times in the past. Yeah, that is a different way to frame the story. So lies is a strong word because both of those ways of framing the story is true, but one leads you in one direction and one is misdirection or leads you're thinking in another direction. Who are you talking to, Tuck? People who are just, your former viewers. Right. Okay.
I'm misleading you. And that's what the news media are doing.
Oh my God, I am so going to clip this. It sounded like he said, I'm misleading you. I think he said, are misleading you. And that's what the news media are doing. When did they stop doing that? Just the minute you got fired? You were part of the news media and you did that for years. And now suddenly you got you're fired. And so now all the news media is doing that. And you're going to move over to something that is like another corporate news outlet, Twitter. Twitter is corporate now. Now that it's owned by Elon Musk, it is corporate. Crazy.
Allowed to say what they think is true. Speech is the fundamental prerequisite for democracy. That's why it's enshrined in the first of our constitutional amendments. Amazingly, as of tonight, there aren't many platforms left that allow free speech.
I want to throw up.
The last big one remaining in the world, the only one, is Twitter.
Oh, Twitter. Okay. Elon Musk has like a hard-on for the fact that he's allowing Trump back on Twitter or whatever, and that he's the one who's going to save free speech. Do I have to? No, I don't have to go through all this, right? First of all, you can't yell fire in a crowded theater. There are guardrails even to free speech. Second of all, Twitter is a private company. It's not a government sphere. It's not a town hall government.
Twitter has long served as the place where our national conversation incubates and develops. Twitter is not a partisan site. Everybody's allowed here, and we think that's a good thing. And yet, for the most part, the news that you see analyzed on Twitter comes.
Actually, I would prefer if everyone was just on Twitter and not in these back alley, dark web kind of places, because then things would be out in the light a little bit more. I don't know. I could be wrong.
From media organizations that are themselves thinly disguised propaganda outlets.
Like the one you used to work for 10 years, and then the one that you tried to convince us was legit for years. Now all of a sudden you're, oh, God.
You see it on cable news.
This is classic narcissism. It's like, when I'm in the club is good. When the club decides that I'm a can I say that? Yeah. Then all of a sudden the club is bad. Club good when it likes me. Bad when it doesn't. I mean, did he not know that Fox was a for-profit in that place? Oh, I've had enough, Tucker.
Starting soon, we'll be bringing a new version of the show we've been doing for the last 6.5 years to Twitter. We'll be bringing some other things too, which we'll tell you about. But for now, we're just grateful to be here. Free speech is the main right that you have. Without it, you have no others. See you soon.
I wonder how Bill Maher, who had Elon Musk on his show the other day, feels about this. He's palling around with terrorists. I'm Julianna Forlano. You're watching the Political Voices Network. I hope you enjoyed that interesting traipse through Tucker Carlson's basement layer announcement. He's got some good wood paneling going there. I really would have thought that he might have had, some guns, or maybe that's just a green screen and he's actually, that's not his. All right. Thanks for watching. Put your comments below and don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you made it this far into the video, I look forward to reading your comments. Thank you.
Republicans say they won't cut Social Security, Medicare, or Medicaid. But can honest, hard-working middle-class Americans really believe what these politicians say? Republicans said they wouldn't overturn Roe v. Wade. Here's what Supreme Court Justices Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, and Coney Barrett said during their Senate confirmation hearings.
Roe v. Wade. It is a precedent of the United States Supreme Court. A good judge will consider it as precedent of the United States Supreme Court.
Roe v. Wade. It's settled as a precedent of the Supreme Court.
Roe is not a super precedent, but that doesn't mean that Roe should be overruled.
Well, we saw how that turned out. They played us for fools. Tell your elected officials to keep their hands off of our Social Security and healthcare benefits. Fool me once. Let Majority Rule was responsible for this message. LetMajorityRule.org is a project of the Marvin Lucas Super PAC, which is responsible for and paid for this ad and is not affiliated with or authorized by any political campaign or candidate or candidates committee.